Before we get into the video, could everyone please subscribe to my Endless Diary Tales channel? Thank you so much. I grew up with my boyfriend Ethan. We were childhood sweethearts. But on the day of the college entrance exam, he told me to skip it. That morning Lily, one of our classmates, suddenly got her period during the Chinese exam and didn't even finish her essay. Ethan said he would skip the test to stay with her, then looked at me and said, "Come with me." I tried to persuade him. It's just one subject. You'll still have another chance. But when the results came out, Lily jumped off a building and took her own life. Ethan acted as if nothing had happened. He and I got into the same university, and later we even went abroad to study together. After our love and careers both seemed perfect, we came back home to get married. I was filled with joy, eagerly waiting for our wedding day until he pushed me off the school building. His eyes burned with fury and hatred. If it weren't for your selfishness, if you hadn't refused to skip the exam, Lily wouldn't have died. It's all your fault. You should pay with your life. At that time I was already carrying his child. When I opened my eyes again, I saw the same gentle, soft-spoken Ethan standing in front of me. "Mia, don't you want to skip the exam with me?" he asked. This time I smiled and answered, "Of course I do." Ethan finally sighed in relief and rubbed my head affectionately. It used to be my favorite gesture, but now it made my skin crawl. "I knew you were the best, Mia. Anyway, there's no exam this afternoon. Come with me to take care of Lily. She's in a lot of pain. You can make her some brown sugar tea." I laughed and complained, "I'm on my period too. And instead of letting me rest, you want me to tutor you too." He didn't even look embarrassed. "How could you two be the same? She can't even open a bottle cap. Besides, I just want us to get into the same university. Here, drink this first. It's so hot today. I don't want you to get heat stroke." Ethan handed me a pink cup. Lily's cup. I raised an eyebrow, glancing at it. In my past life I hadn't noticed this before. They were already sharing the same cup. Ethan had always been a clean freak. Even if I had taken a sip from something, he would never touch it again. But now his backpack was open, stuffed full of Lily's things, even a spare school uniform of hers. "Well," I said with a faint smile, "since you two are so in love, I'll make it easy for you. You go ahead. My parents are coming to pick me up anyway. I should explain things to them." Ethan hesitated, his eyes lingering on my face for a moment before he finally said, "All right, but don't forget to come. I don't know how to make brown sugar tea, and Lily will feel terrible without it." Before I could respond, he grabbed my backpack and slung it over his shoulder. Step by step, he backed away with a smile. "I'll carry your bag for you. See how good I am to you." I froze for a moment, then sneered inwardly. He wasn't being kind. He just didn't trust me not to show up for the exam. He had taken my admission ticket and ID card with him. He knew better than anyone how hard I had worked to climb from an average student to the top of the class. He knew exactly how much effort I had put in. Yet, just because Lily didn't do well on one exam, he demanded that I give up mine too. The more I thought about it, the colder my heart became. When Ethan finally disappeared at the end of the street, I slowly curled my lips into a smile and waved the documents in my hand. "Goodbye, Ethan." I had already secretly taken them out earlier. He could go ahead and retake the year on his own. But as I said that, I suddenly realized tears were streaming down my face. We had grown up together. I couldn't understand how he could be so cruel. After lunch, I bought the stationery I needed and arrived on time for the afternoon exam. Later that day, my best friend called me. "Mia, you won't believe this. Ethan actually came to ask me where you were today. You look totally confused. What's going on between you two? Did you have a fight? Did Ethan do something to you?" my best friend asked. I reflexively replied, "What would you say if he did?" She scoffed. "You know the rule. If you don't tell me in advance, I'll just pretend I don't know a thing." I thought for a moment. I still didn't tell her that I had been reborn. I only said quietly, "I suddenly feel like he's not good to me anymore. I don't want to like him." There was a brief silence. Then she let out a sharp scream. "Who are you and what did you do with the real Mia? Get out of her body right now or I swear I'll kill you myself." To ease her suspicion, I had to meet her in person. That evening over dinner, I told her about everything. How he treated me and what I planned to tell my parents. My best friend slammed her hand on the table, her face turning red with anger. He told you to skip the exam? Are you kidding me? You're not even naturally smart. It was already hard enough for you to climb to the top of the class, and he still had the nerve to say that to you. Her words were rough but true, though still a little too blunt. She took a deep breath, then said, "Good. You finally come to your senses. Since you're not sick anymore and don't like him, just cut him off completely. Move on and leave that jerk behind." As my parents listened, they grew more and more furious. My mom wiped away angry tears. "How could you never tell us any of this, honey?" My dad slammed the table. "I'll go deal with him right now. That family has eaten our food, used our help, and still treated my daughter like this. His parents' jobs were connections I helped them get, and now he dares to humiliate you like this." My best friend pushed past me, puffing up her chest. "I'm going to crush that bastard under my heel." I quickly stopped both of them. "Not yet. There's no need to alert them now. That whole family is like a nest of ants. Let's wait until after my exams." They looked at each other for a moment, then nodded and sat down again, though their chests still heaved with anger. The more they thought about it, the more furious they became. In the end, the three of us agreed on one thing. We'd move out and stay far away from that cursed family. A few days later, during a class reunion, my best friend called me on video. "Mia, I was worried you'd soften up again, so I'm showing you what those two snakes are up to right now." On the screen, Lily and Ethan sat side by side, practically glued together. They looked like a perfect match. The people around them were teasing and laughing. It was the same crowd from our old class. Lily was wearing a low-cut short dress, her hair pinned up high to reveal her delicate neck. The dress looked familiar. It was the one I helped Ethan pick out last year. Back then I thought it was a birthday gift for me. Later, I found out he'd given it to her instead because I had scored too well on a test, and he was afraid Lily would feel bad about it. Ethan's gaze drifted downward without even realizing it. One classmate joked, "What are you staring at, Ethan? Aren't you afraid Mia will find out?" Lily blushed and glanced up at him shyly, then accidentally leaned into his arms. "Don't say that," she murmured. "Mia will get upset." Ethan quickly comforted her. "She won't be angry. Don't worry, she doesn't dare." Even after everything that had happened, seeing this scene made my chest tighten with bitterness. Images of the days we'd spent together flashed through my mind one by one until they faded completely. My best friend muttered under her breath, "See that? Do you see their true faces now?" But I already knew. I just hadn't wanted to wake up from the illusion. By the way, someone in the video asked, "Where's Mia? Why isn't she here yet?" Ethan finally seemed to remember me. The class monitor looked around curiously. "I thought she was coming with you, Ethan. Don't you know where she went?" "Yeah," another added. "You two are always together. How could you not know?" Hearing that, a memory flashed in my mind. When I was 10 years old, I secretly went out to buy him a birthday cake. I almost got kidnapped by human traffickers. Ethan had chased after the van on his bicycle, crying and shouting for help from strangers. In the process, he crashed and fell, knocking out one of his front teeth. When the police finally arrived, Ethan's face was bruised and swollen from the beating he'd taken from the traffickers. Amid the chaos and shouting, he still tilted his chin up proudly and said to me, "Don't be scared, Mia. I'll protect you." Thinking of that moment, I slowly turned off my phone screen. I didn't want to look anymore. He must have been preparing a birthday gift for me back then. Every year there was always one day like that. Then through the phone speaker, I heard Ethan's familiar self-satisfied voice. "I've always treated her well, and she knows it." Someone in the background laughed. "Man, you're lucky. Holding one girl in each arm." "Don't say that," Ethan replied quickly. "Lily is like my little sister." He wasn't entirely wrong. But this year I wasn't planning any surprises for him, and I wasn't even in the same city. My best friend had been secretly following the two of them that day. When she saw them finally part ways, she panicked. "Mia, he's saying he wants to go find you. What excuse should I use to stop him? You haven't finished moving yet. What if he finds out and starts camping outside your house?" She was restless and anxious, but strangely, I felt a faint sense of expectation. If Ethan really finds out, will he regret it? "Ethan, it's getting dark," Lily said softly, clutching the corner of his shirt. I'm scared. He comforted her gently. I'll call a cab for you. I'll stay on video with you until you get home. Okay. But Lily didn't let go. Her voice trembled. But it's supposed to thunderstorm tonight. The night my dad died, it was storming too. Her tears streamed down, her whole face delicate and pitiful, like rain on flower petals. No wonder every year when I waited for you it was always so late, I thought bitterly. You weren't working late. You were comforting her first. My best friend gritted her teeth as she whispered, Unbelievable. All those nights you waited for him, and he was busy consoling his precious Lily. It started that early, huh? No wonder he never treated you the same. Memories flashed before my eyes like shards of glass. So it turned out even back then I had already lost to Lily and Ethan's heart. Or maybe in his eyes I was just easier to please. I let out a bitter laugh. Easy to please? Not really. I just loved him more. Seeing Ethan torn, Lily lowered her gaze, tears still glistening in her eyes, and gave a faint trembling smile. I'm sorry. I shouldn't ask so much of you. Go to her. She's about to start college. You probably have a lot you want to say to her. Ethan immediately interrupted. Lily, stop overthinking. She already agreed to skip the exam. She's just like us, a retaker now. And with her tutoring us, it'll be easy to get into the same university. Don't cry, okay? Lily wiped her tears, still sniffing softly. Really? Of course, Ethan said with a tender smile, ruffling her hair affectionately. Would I ever lie to you? I already took her admission ticket and ID. I'll mail them back to her after the exams. Lily finally stopped crying, her lips curving into a fragile smile. Ethan exhaled deeply, relieved. You're the best, Ethan, she said softly. Then go keep her company. I can go home on my own. I shouldn't be so clingy. But if I get scared tonight, can I call you? Looking into her tearful, pleading eyes, Ethan hesitated. After a moment's struggle, he gritted his teeth and said, Forget it. I'll take you home myself. Wait here. I'll message Mia to tell her. She'll wait for me no matter how late it gets. From the angle Ethan couldn't see, Lily lowered her face and wiped her tears, a sly smile tugging at her lips. She knew all too well men always wanted what seemed rare, and women's disappointment turned to heartbreak easily. As long as Mia, completely lost faith in Ethan, that would be enough. My best friend's voice trembled with anger through the phone. I swear if we weren't waiting to let things unfold properly, I'd march over there and slap them both right now. You're under so much pressure retaking this exam and they still treat you like a free tutor. Still dreaming about college? Someone once mocked me. Then go study at a madhouse. Looking back now, it had always been like this. Only my best friend hadn't returned from abroad early enough to see it. I had been blinded by what I thought was deep affection, by the illusion of a childhood sweetheart's love. And so I played the role of his servant for years, willingly lowering myself, believing it was love. My best friend, afraid that Ethan might actually come looking for me, stayed over at my place that night to keep watch. But she slept straight through till morning and never saw a trace of him. The next afternoon, Ethan finally texted me. Sorry, Mia. Lily got sick last night and I was taking care of her all night. I just woke up. Don't worry, she slept in the bedroom and I slept on the couch. If you're awake, can you make some porridge with pork and preserved egg and bring it over? And by the way, you're her future sister-in-law. It's been so long and you haven't even called or come by. That's kind of rude, don't you think? Tell you what, this time for her birthday, I bet you already bought that gold ring I said I liked last time. Bring it and give it to her as an apology. I'll help you smooth things over. Don't worry. If this had been before, I might have immediately gone to the kitchen, started cooking, and happily carried the porridge over like a fool. But now as I stared at the message, all I felt was disgust. At last, I truly saw Ethan for what he was, a shameless, two-faced scumbag. The next second, a notification popped up. Lily's profile picture. She had sent me 3 photos. The first one, under dim light, Ethan lay next to her, his hand resting, judging by the angle, right on her waist. The second, a mirror selfie of Lily, smiling softly while Ethan stood behind her, drying her hair with a blow dryer. The third, Ethan shirtless, wearing only an apron, cooking in the kitchen. He had never done any of that for me. Even though we'd grown up together, because I'd always been the one taking care of everything, He never had to lift a finger. Then, as if to twist the knife deeper, Lily sent a message. Mia, don't misunderstand. Okay. He was just really tired last night, so he accidentally fell asleep next to me. As for the hair drying, I hurt my wrist when I tried to open a bottle, so he insisted on helping, even though I told him not to. I couldn't stop him. You're so much better than me. Strong and independent. I'm weak and always such a burden. Oh, and the air conditioner broke and Ethan said takeout isn't healthy, so he insisted on cooking for me. It got so hot in the kitchen he took his shirt off. He only sees me as a little sister. I just wanted to tell you everything up front so you wouldn't misunderstand. Please don't scold him, okay? He's a guy and you're a girl. You should really try to control your temper a little, big sis. She even attached a cute little emoji at the end. Reading that, I felt a surge of helpless rage, like I wanted to punch through the screen but couldn't. Then I sneered. Fine. Since she cares about him so much, I should let more people see how much. With a cold laugh, I took screenshots of the whole chat and posted them to my public feed, visible to everyone. Today, I was finally going to tear off the mask Ethan had been wearing for so long. It wasn't even the first time Lily had reported things to me like this. I'd received countless messages before, but back then I'd always thought I was being too small-minded, too suspicious. I'd even sent her gifts afterward, lavish ones, to make up for it and keep everyone happy. Just then another message popped up, this time from Ethan. Mia, you don't need to come over. I made your favorite honey-glazed chicken wings. I'll bring them to you later. Sure enough, honey-glazed chicken wings were my favorite, but not when they weren't made for me. I replied bluntly, don't bother. I don't want them. Ethan must have frowned at the screen because the next message from Lily read, Ethan, are my clothes dry yet? Mia's mad again. You should go talk to her. Then another from her followed quickly. Sorry, Ethan. And just like that, I could practically picture him sighing, that same guilty look on his face, as if I were the unreasonable one and she was the innocent victim. The washing machine broke, Lily texted Ethan. I had to wash everything by hand and it's still not dry. It's all my fault. I can't even carry a plate properly. But don't worry. I've already explained everything to Mia. She won't be mad at you. Ethan thought about it for a while. He couldn't exactly show up at my place without clothes, could he? That day, he didn't reply to my message again. And of course, he never brought over the chicken wings. My best friend had to bear the inconvenience of staying at my old apartment for another day, waiting around while the movers went in and out. Several days later, Ethan finally messaged me again. Are you still mad? I bought you flowers. Come outside for a second. Okay, don't be upset. Lily's father was the man who saved my life. When you get jealous like this, he really put me in a hard spot. Never mind. I'll come find you myself. A moment later, he sent me a selfie holding a bouquet of flowers. The same bouquet that just a few minutes earlier had been in Lily's arms. He even asked, do you like the flowers I picked? I didn't reply and Ethan didn't message again. But this time he actually came to find me. My best friend panicked. Oh my God, Mia. He's really here. What should I do? I let out a bitter laugh. You don't need to do anything. He won't come in. And just as I expected, when I checked the door camera, Ethan hesitated for a moment, then placed the bouquet on the shoe cabinet and walked away. The truth was, Lily's father wasn't the one who had saved him. I was. It was me who had jumped into the freezing lake, dragging him back to shore with all my strength. Lily's father had only reached out to pull us both up the last few feet. But when he realized he didn't have long to live, he knelt before me, begging. He asked me not to tell anyone the truth, to let him take the credit, and to take care of Lily in his place. Seeing the terrified girl hiding behind him, I couldn't refuse. I agreed. And from that day on, I treated her with kindness and care. Lily knew the truth too. For the past few days, I'd actually considered telling Ethan everything. But now none of it seemed to matter anymore. I would become someone better, someone strong enough to leave them behind. Soon after, another message from Ethan arrived. I left the flowers at your door. I'm heading out now. Lily said she wants to take her father's ashes to the ocean, so I'm going with her. Please take care of yourself. When I get back, I'll explain everything in person. Also, you should delete that post on your feed. Lily's depression is acting up because of you. If anything happens to her, I'll never forgive you. You know what I mean, right? I stared at his message, then looked down at the table, at the travel itinerary, the camera, and all the gear I'd prepared long ago for the trip we were supposed to take together. Everything sat there silently, as if mocking me. Even the destination was the same. The seaside, the place Ethan had once promised we'd go together. Now he was not only abandoning me to go with someone else but even threatening me over her. Before I realized it, my tears had already soaked through my shirt. I felt nothing but pity for myself. Fine, I thought bitterly. I won't go then. Who cared anymore? On the day the exam results were released, the school celebrated with 3 hours of fireworks. My homeroom teacher, his face glowing with pride, told my parents, 2 of those hours were just for your daughter. In the class group chat, he posted the top 3 scores, but my name and Ethan's weren't there. Someone commented, "Don't you know Mia gave up her exam for Ethan? Childhood sweethearts, right? So different from the rest of us." Another added, "Ethan did it for Lily, but Mia insisted on skipping too after finding out. He really keeps her on a tight leash, huh?" The messages were quickly deleted, but not before several classmates saw them. Right after that, Ethan withdrew a laughing emoji he'd accidentally sent. "What nonsense are you all talking about?" he wrote. "Mia's score is hidden in the system. She's the pride of our school." The chat went silent for a few seconds, then erupted with excitement. Dozens of messages poured in, all congratulating me. Ethan's messages came one after another. He must have realized my number was disconnected after trying to call and getting no answer. "Mia, didn't you say you were going to skip the exam? What's that supposed to mean? So, the reason you've been ignoring me lately is because you got into college. Now you think you're too good for me? Don't you dare submit your application. If you do, I'll never forgive you. I'll never see you again. Why aren't you replying?" I didn't respond. 10 minutes later, my best friend video called me, her tone sharp with excitement. "Mia, Ethan's here. He's actually knocking this time." Then she muttered, "Oh, I'm going to deal with him properly today. All those times before, he never had the guts to knock. But now that he knows you scored high, he's scared you'll dump him. So suddenly he's got courage." I had just opened my mouth to tell her to be careful when her voice came through the phone again, louder this time. "What are you doing? You think you can just barge into someone's house?" Ethan's voice followed, surprised. "Why are you here, Mia's friend? Tell her to come out. I want an explanation." As he craned his neck to peek inside, my best friend let out a cold laugh and shoved him back. "Explanation? And what right do you have to demand one from her? Mia is a top student at North University. You wanted her to throw away her college entrance exam for you and your little fling. She refused, and now you're here to hit her." Then dramatically, my best friend let out a piercing wail and threw herself to the floor. "Neighbors, come quick and see this. Because our school's top student refused to skip the exam with him, he came here to beat her up." Within moments, the whole neighborhood was out in the hallway. I had my phone on speaker, listening with my parents. My dad, after a minute, awkwardly reached for a bag of sunflower seeds and whispered, "Want some?" Before I could answer, my mom smacked the back of his head so hard it made a thud. He winced, rubbing his scalp. "Ow! Ow! What was that for?" "You shameless man," my mom scolded. "Don't you remember? His grades were only decent because she tutored him. Now he doesn't want to take the exam himself, and he's coming here to pick a fight. His face is thicker than a brick wall." She slammed her hand on the table. "Tell me, when's he bringing his little mistress over? We'll give them a nice mixed doubles beating. That girl's so sweet. What did she ever do to deserve a scumbag like him? God help us. What a sin." My dad and I looked at each other and both burst out laughing. Turns out our usually cold and distant neighbors had a strong sense of justice after all. Mom sighed proudly. "Well, I guess sharing my vegetables with everyone wasn't for nothing. At least they're all on our side now." Ethan, embarrassed beyond belief, turned red as a beet. After a few minutes of being scolded by half the block, he tried to leave, but my best friend wrapped her arms around his leg, refusing to let go. "Oh, trying to run now," she yelled. "Weren't you just pulling my hair and threatening me a moment ago? Why aren't you so tough now that everyone's watching? Come on, hit me. Why don't you hit me again?" Ethan tried to wriggle free, panicking. I didn't hit anyone. I'd never hurt Mia." I just wanted to talk to her. But my best friend clung tighter, glaring at him. The crowd kept shouting insults, and Ethan's face grew redder by the second. He finally broke down, pleading in a small voice. Please let me go. I'm begging you. Let me go. Just then, an unfamiliar voice cut through the noise. Excuse me, is this Mia's home? We're teachers from North University. Are you all busy right now? Another voice shouted from outside. Wait, we're from South City University. Is Mia home? The stairwell suddenly erupted in chaos. A teacher from North University bellowed. We came first. Don't let them in. You're the one who's being unreasonable, the other teacher yelled back. The entire building turned into a shouting match. Two prestigious universities fighting at my doorstep. Let's keep things fair, one of the teachers said, his voice strained but polite. Both of you please calm down. I just want to talk to Mia. What if she ends up liking our university better? No way. Not a chance. Get out of here. The North University teacher snapped. You pushed me first. Don't blame me for fighting back. I was waiting outside all night, the South City University teacher shouted. If it weren't for that spicy food you brought me, I wouldn't have had diarrhea and come late today. You want to fight? Fine, old man. Let's go. Everyone froze for a few seconds, stunned into silence. Then my best friend let out a low whistle. Oh my God, they're actually fighting. I can't believe I'm seeing the legendary battle of teachers fighting over a student. What a day to be alive. Having a best friend like her was both a blessing and chaos incarnate. Meanwhile, Ethan, who had been squeezed into a corner, seemed to think of something. His eyes lit up with an idea, and he suddenly rushed forward to break up the scuffle. Please, teachers, calm down, he shouted. There's no need to fight. Mia isn't going to college this year. She told me herself she's going to retake the exam. Before he could finish, my best friend kicked him square in the stomach, sending him stumbling back. The neighbors immediately surrounded him, holding him in place and covering his mouth. Don't listen to his nonsense, my best friend yelled. He failed his own exam, and now he's making up rumors. Mia's definitely going to college. Hurry up, teachers. Get inside and compete fairly. She turned to them with a grin. Not for a fight, an interview. Once the teacher stepped inside, she slammed the door shut and locked it, shutting Ethan outside as he struggled and shouted. Then she cracked the door open again, just long enough to spit out "scumbag" before slamming it once more. They said he was lectured by the neighbors for an entire afternoon before they finally let him go. Even the little kids pointed at him on his way out, clapping their hands and chanting, "Shame, shame." Inside the apartment, I sat there holding my phone, staring awkwardly at a screen filled with professors' faces, all of them staring right back at me. Hi, I managed with an uneasy smile. One of the professors cleared his throat. Mia, we apologize for showing up so suddenly. This was poor planning on our part. We should have updated your address earlier. Allow me to introduce the offer our university is prepared to make. He suddenly paused, glancing off-screen. His tone turned cold. Could I have some privacy, please? Thank you. Outside the frame, we heard a grumble. Another teacher, clearly refusing to back down. Oh, now you want to be polite. Didn't seem so polite when you were yanking on my hair a few minutes ago. You grabbed me first. They bickered all the way to the stairwell until nightfall. My best friend finally saw off the teachers from North University. And by then, even the professors who came after them had to postpone their visit to the next day. The following morning, right at 8 o'clock, the doorbell rang again. I was in the middle of yoga, so I threw on a random outfit and opened the door. Standing there was a professor from South City University. His hair, what little was left, was blowing in the breeze, and somehow it told the whole story of yesterday's battle. He greeted me with a wide smile, though his eyes looked weary. For some reason, I felt a pang of sympathy. Mia, he said kindly, may I come in and talk for a bit? Of course, I replied. Please come in. As soon as he stepped inside, my best friend leaned close to my ear and whispered mischievously, Mia, I took gifts from every teacher who came yesterday. South City's guy paid the most, so he gets to go first. Don't worry, there are plenty more after him. Then she handed me a breakfast bag. I knew your parents already left for work, so I brought you food. Eat up, freshen up, and brace yourself for the storm. She grinned like a mischievous villain, so wildly that the South City professor actually shivered and rubbed his arms nervously, forcing a smile. It suddenly reminded me of a saying. Money's hard to earn, but crap is even harder to swallow. Maybe this was what adulthood really looked like. After a whole day of meetings and negotiations, I finally got to rest. Exhausted, I collapsed onto the couch and picked up my phone to return a call from my tutoring teacher. "Sorry, Mr. White," I said apologetically. "Today was so busy I didn't have time to answer earlier. Is something the matter?" On the other end of the line, Mr. White sighed. "Mia," he said helplessly. "Congratulations," Mr. White said warmly. "You did incredibly well this time." "It's all thanks to you, Mr. White," I replied sincerely. "Without your guidance, I never would have achieved this." He smiled faintly, then sighed. "But tell me, why haven't you been talking to Ethan? He came looking for me this afternoon." "Mr. White, wait a second," I said. "Let me call him back on my tablet. Don't hang up." I put the call on speaker and dialed Ethan. The phone only rang once before he answered. Ever since he'd met Lily, this was the first time he'd picked up so quickly. His voice came through the line, anxious but carrying that same old arrogance. "You finally called me back. Do you have any idea how worried I've been, Mia? Listen, as long as you promise not to submit your college application and agree to retake the exam with me, I'll forgive you for betraying me. I'll forget everything. How you secretly took the test, how you moved out without telling me, and how you didn't come to take care of Lily." I didn't let him finish. "Mr. White," I said calmly, "did you hear that?" Mr. White sighed heavily. "I heard it," he said, his voice suddenly stern. "Ethan, if you ever come looking for me again, I'll beat you myself. And don't even think about asking me to tutor you ever again." Ethan tried to say something, but before he could, Mr. White hung up with a sharp click. For a long moment, Ethan didn't speak. I could hear him breathing hard through the line before he finally said, "Mia, I'll say this one last time. I've already enrolled you in the retake program. As long as you come, I'll forgive everything. You know I've loved you since we were kids. How could you be so heartless?" I hung up without another word. Loved me since we were kids. His kind of love had pushed me off a building, killing me and our unborn child. If I hadn't come back to life, I might have believed his lies again. Later that week, the principal invited me back to school to give a speech. That's when Ethan's parents finally got their chance. They pushed through the crowd and grabbed my arm so hard I nearly lost my balance. "Sweet girl," Ethan's mother said, clutching my hand tightly, fake tears glistening in her eyes. "You've suffered so much, haven't you?" She dabbed at her dry cheeks and continued. "I know you mind about that Lily girl, but Ethan, he really didn't have a choice. After all, she's the daughter of the man who saved his life." She gave her husband a pointed look, and Ethan's father quickly jumped in. "That's right. Ethan only ever treated her kindly because she's his savior's daughter. He sees you as his future wife. Why else wouldn't he let anyone else take care of her? You just don't understand how thoughtful he's been. Because of you, he's been shut out by Mr. White and mocked by others. He's been drowning his sorrows in alcohol these days. He's practically wasting away." He jabbed a finger in my direction. "And your family over such a small matter. You ruined our jobs. For that alone, you owe us 300,000 yuan in compensation, not a cent less." Ethan's mother quickly tried to smooth things over. Now look at your temper again, Mia. Please don't take him seriously. You know he's uneducated. He just doesn't know how to talk properly. But honestly, Ethan's been through so much because of you. You two grew up together. Can you really be so cruel as to watch him fall apart like this?" She sighed dramatically. "As for the jobs, don't worry about it. As long as you're not angry with us, dear, we don't care if we lost them." Before I could say anything, my dad shoved them both aside. "If our daughter hadn't been helping your son all these years, that precious boy of yours would have been the worst student in the entire school. Smoking, drinking, and failing every class," he barked. "And you've got the nerve to talk about work. If my daughter hadn't liked that ungrateful brat of yours, I'd never have lifted a finger to find either of you a job. Dream on." My dad snapped. "You want compensation? How about 2 slaps across the face? Will that be enough for you?" He pointed at them furiously. "After all these years of mooching off us, You still have the nerve to open your mouths and ask for money. Keep talking and I'll call the police right now. Let's see if you two can handle an investigation. Ethan's parents flushed red with anger, but neither dared to speak. In my previous life after Lily died, they had always treated me with contempt. But Ethan didn't blame me, so I swallowed every insult and humiliation, burying my pain deep inside. Now I looked straight into their predatory eyes and slowly took a step forward. Please move aside, I said evenly. As the top student in the school, I have to go on stage and give my speech. If you keep blocking the way and the principal sees this, I'm afraid Ethan won't even have the chance to retake the exam. The color drained from their faces. Their jaws tightened so hard I thought they might crack a tooth. But they had no choice except to step aside reluctantly. I walked onto the stage. I hadn't even finished reciting my prepared speech when a figure suddenly rushed out from the audience. Lily crying hysterically. I'm sorry, Mia, she sobbed. It's all my fault. I shouldn't have gotten sick and been hospitalized. Ethan only missed the exam to repay my dad for saving his life. He didn't mean to disobey you. You can hit me, yell at me, anything, but please go see him. He's dying because of you. I widened my eyes and pretended to panic, then said, You weren't hospitalized because of your period, right? I remember, even though my parents wouldn't let me skip the exam with Ethan, I still made you brown sugar tea right away. We even went to the amusement park together afterward. What are you talking about now? If you like him, you could have just told me. Your dad saved his life. Of course he feels indebted to you. Even though Ethan and I grew up together, if you'd said you liked him, I would have kept my distance. He wouldn't have rejected you either. The entire audience of teachers and students fell silent, then let out a collective sigh. I continued gently. But at our age, studying should always come first. Only by working hard can we meet the people we love at the top. You two should encourage each other and keep going. At that moment, Ethan appeared at the edge of the stage, his face pale as paper, dressed in white from head to toe. Only the bouquet in his hands added color. He walked up and pulled Lily protectively behind him, his voice low but firm. I like her, he said coldly. And it has nothing to do with her father being my savior. His parents froze in shock. Ethan, his father barked. So you really skipped the exam for her? You told us it was because of Mia. Are you out of your mind? His mother grabbed his arm. How can you compare Lily to Mia? You idiot. You've lost your senses. Their fury boiled over. They began striking him on the shoulders, one blow after another, though not very hard. I couldn't help but understand their reaction. After all, their entire family's position had been propped up by mine. Ethan's eyes turned red with rage as he glared at me. What's so great about her? Lily is better than Mia in every way. I fell for Lily at first sight. Lily blushed furiously and tugged at his sleeve, whispering, Stop it! But Ethan pulled her firmly into his arms, determined to show his devotion. It's all Mia's fault for refusing to let go, he shouted. If it weren't for her clinging to me, Lily and I would have been together long ago. Gasps rippled through the entire auditorium. Until that moment, everyone had believed Ethan had treated me well, that I was the one who broke my promise and took the exam anyway. But now he'd exposed himself completely. A man who ate from one bowl while staring at another and then spat in both. My goal was finally achieved. I smiled faintly as the security guards came forward to escort Ethan, Lily, and his parents out of the hall. When it was over, I stepped outside the school gates. Ethan turned back, his expression dark, and glared at me. Mia, he said coldly, if you walk away today, I won't retake the exam. I'll marry Lily immediately. Just as he wished, I stopped walking. His face lit up with smug relief. Then congratulations, I said softly. I'm going abroad after this, I said calmly. When I get back, I'll be heading straight to South City University to report in. I won't have time to attend your wedding. But don't worry, all our high school classmates will be there. So the place won't be empty. As for my gift, I'll donate it to charity on your behalf. I didn't look back after that. The congratulatory card that read, Congratulations, Mia, on your success, was swept off the ground by the wind and landed in a trash can. Ethan's grades, every improvement, every achievement, had all been thanks to me. He knew how much I cared about his education. Yet, He had the audacity to use retaking the exam as a weapon against me. But the Mia who once cared about him had already been shoved off a building to her death. And the Ethan who gave up the exam for love became a romantic legend. Every year the principal and teachers told his story as an inspirational tale for new students. When the semester started, my parents drove me to campus. "Honey," my dad asked curiously, "you always said you loved North University. Why did you choose South City instead?" I smiled faintly, my heart calm. "Dad, North University was Ethan's dream. I just said I liked it too because I wanted to be with him. But honestly, the professors at South City are pretty interesting too." My mom nodded quickly, eager to agree. Yes, every time I think about that bald professor mumbling your name like Mia Lin from Xuanwu, my sweetest student, I can't stop laughing. That man really did everything he could to recruit you. Once classes began, Ethan showed up at my university gate more than once, waiting for me. I pretended not to see him every time. He would always look deeply moved by his own persistence, forcing gifts into my hands whether I wanted them or not. I was too tired to argue, so I just tossed everything into the trash right in front of him. "I didn't accept anything from you," I told him coldly. "So don't go around crying that I'm some materialistic woman who broke your devoted heart." But the more I ignored him, the worse his behavior became. One day he showed up with a ring of roses shaped like a giant heart. He knelt in the middle, eyes wet with tears. "Mia, I was wrong before," he cried. "Please marry me. I swear I'll treat you right from now on." The crowd that had gathered around started chanting in unison. "Say yes. Say yes. Say yes." My senior, who'd been watching from a distance, leaned in with a smirk and whispered, "You better be careful. That guy looks like he's ready to kill you. He's scarier than our thesis advisor." I chuckled under my breath, biting back irritation. He was right. Ethan's eyes were blazing. The moment he saw my senior standing beside me, his expression twisted with rage. He suddenly shot up from his knees, pointing at me furiously. You betrayed me. You have another man at school, don't you? How could you do this to me? I've been working so hard, retaking the exam just so we could be together. And you? You went to college first and betrayed our childhood promise. We're engaged." Mia, I raised an eyebrow. "Really? Because I remember you saying if I wasn't around, you wouldn't even retake the exam. You just set up a fried snack stand outside the school." Ethan froze, choking on his own words. But then he straightened his neck stubbornly. "Then what's your relationship with him?" he demanded, pointing at my senior. My gaze turned icy. "Shut up and apologize to him," I said coldly. Maybe he'd never seen me like that before because Ethan hesitated for a moment, then muttered, "I'm sorry." My senior, caught completely off guard, just blinked at me, clearly not understanding what had just happened. Before anyone could speak again, Lily suddenly appeared out of nowhere. "Lily's here," I said flatly, pointing behind him. "You should both leave." Ethan stiffened. He tried to keep his face composed, but I still caught that fleeting flicker of impatience in his eyes. "So soon?" I thought bitterly. "You're already tired of her?" Men's hearts truly are like shifting sands. Lily looked fragile as she clutched her stomach. Her lips trembled, blood seeping where she'd bitten them too hard. "It's okay," she whispered, her voice trembling. "Even though I'm already carrying Ethan's child, as long as you two still need me, I can leave any time I want," I said coldly. I turned to stare at Ethan, utterly stunned. He had the nerve to show up here and propose to me when Lily was already pregnant with his child. Did he expect me to go back and be their live-in maid? Ethan froze for only a moment before quickly regaining his composure. "Mia, you have to believe me. It's not mine," he said, forcing a calm tone. "The only person I love is you. How could I possibly be with her? You know what she's like. She lives to stir up trouble and drive wedges between people." His eyes filled with tears as he lowered his gaze, looking heartbreakingly pitiful. "You don't believe me?" "I don't," I said flatly. And with that, I took my senior's hand and walked away. Respect other people's choices, I thought. You live your life, I'll live mine. Everyone's better off that way. The crowd of students, realizing the drama was over, began to disperse. After this scene, no one would ever believe I'd agreed to Ethan's ridiculous proposal. Lily stood frozen, watching me leave with quiet composure. Her eyes followed me every few steps, and the jealousy burning in them could no longer be hidden. From that day on, I started receiving strange packages. They were always cash on delivery, and every single one was filled with photos. Judging by the contents, they were clearly sent by Lily. I couldn't help but roll my eyes. Sending disgusting packages is bad enough, but making me pay for them? That's a whole new level of pathetic. There were photos of Ethan lying with his head on her stomach, of him hugging her while they slept, of him cooking for her. Each envelope came with little notes begging me to let go and bless their love. After seeing all that, I became certain of two things. Ethan would never get into South City University, and Lily definitely wouldn't either. As for my reply, I sent just 4 words. Congratulations on your doom. The next year, sure enough, Ethan failed to get into South City. He ended up choosing a nearby mediocre college instead. According to my best friend, since our old school had refused to recommend them, Ethan and Lily moved to a neighboring city and enrolled at a lesser university. They even rented an apartment together near campus. Ethan constantly complained that the cafeteria food was awful, and that he didn't have time to wash his clothes. Eventually, Lily dropped out entirely. She spent her days cooking, cleaning, and doing laundry for him. At night, after he'd fallen asleep, she would study on her own. The results were obvious. He failed again. When the new semester began, Ethan showed up at my university's gate, grinning ear to ear. "Mia," he said, trying to sound hurt but confident, "I only chose that crappy school because of you. You know my scores were enough for somewhere better." My senior, standing beside me, laughed mockingly. "Oh really? You make it sound like you were ever close to getting into South City." Ethan fidgeted, clutching at the hem of his shirt. "I'm talking to Mia. What does this have to do with you?" He looked nothing like the proud boy I used to know. His once smooth, clean-cut demeanor had been replaced by nervous tension and insecurity. Then Lily's voice called out behind him, "Ethan, I brought all your things." It had only been 6 months, but she was unrecognizable. Thinner, paler, her once beautiful long hair chopped unevenly short, framing a hollowed face and sunken eyes. But what struck me most was the absence of her pregnancy. Her stomach was completely flat. Lily forced a trembling smile. "Ethan can't go even a single day without me," she said sweetly, clinging to his arm. His face carried that familiar, self-satisfied grin, but to me it felt colder than ice. So he really is a beast, I thought bitterly. Ethan smiled proudly, pulling Lily close. "Last time she sent those photos and upset you, that was her punishment, didn't I say? As long as I'm around, no one will ever make you suffer again." The hypocrisy made me want to vomit, but I swallowed my disgust and stepped forward toward Lily. Her eyes widened in confusion as I reached into my bag and handed her a sanitary pad. She froze, her eyes instantly filling with tears. Her lips trembled, blood trickling from where she bit down too hard. Her fingers clutched at her pants so tightly that her knuckles turned white. A few seconds later, she loosened her grip, forcing a stubborn smile. "Thank you," she said quietly. "But I don't need your pity. I'm fine. Ethan treats me really well. He really does." One by one, Lily began hoisting Ethan's heavy luggage onto her small frame, trying to cover the wet stains on her pants. I couldn't stand watching it anymore. "You know he's not someone you can depend on," I said softly. Lily didn't respond, but Ethan heard me. His eyes lit up with a strange feverish gleam, as if he just discovered some grand truth. "I knew it, Mia," he said excitedly. "You still care about me. You're jealous, aren't you?" I closed my eyes slowly, took a deep breath, and slapped him across the face. His head snapped to the side, but he didn't even look angry. Instead, he smiled foolishly. "I'll take you out for dinner," he said cheerfully. "You know what they say, when you hit me it means you care. Your hands are so soft, Mia. Not like Lily's. Hers are all rough and she still insists on holding me. But don't worry, Mia. Other than that time she got me drunk, and when I stood up for you I never touched her." After that he started showing up constantly every chance he got. It began to seriously interfere with my studies and daily life. I nearly missed an important debate competition once, which almost got me in trouble with my professor. Finally I snapped. I took a picture of him plastered against the university's outer wall and posted it online with the caption, "Attention everyone. This man is an exhibitionist." Please be cautious if you see him around campus. A few days later, my senior came running to me, barely suppressing laughter. You won't believe this, he said. Ethan got his ass kicked. He kept staring at the taekwondo captain's girlfriend during practice, and the guy knocked one of his front teeth out. I tried to hold back my laughter, but after a moment, I couldn't resist and burst out giggling. What I didn't expect, though, was to see him again at the next intercollegiate debate competition. This time, Ethan looked confident and well-groomed, a faint echo of the boy I'd known back in high school. But to me it didn't matter what he looked like anymore. Who could ever love the person who killed them? After the match, he rushed over to me. Mia, I'm so happy to see you again, he said with a bright grin. You're awfully cheerful for someone whose team just lost. My senior teased dryly. Ethan puffed out his chest, grinning even wider. As long as Mia is happy, that's all that matters. I went easy on her team. You know, losing to her is worth it. The moment those words left his mouth, the 4 members of his team glared daggers at him. This wasn't just any competition. It was one that reflected on both schools as professors. Ethan was done for. My senior bit his lip to hold back his laughter, looking like a mischievous kid who just gotten away with something. I crossed my arms and said calmly, I don't need you to go easy on us. We can beat you fair and square. Besides, saying that out loud just shows how little respect you have for your teammates and for your opponents. That's really low, even for you. The 4 debaters from the other team all nodded in agreement. Back at school, my senior headed straight for our professor's office. I stopped him in the hallway. He froze, probably thinking I was going to plead on Ethan's behalf, but instead I handed him my voice recorder. He blinked, then grinned. Now that's what I call solid evidence, he said. Foolproof. We exchanged a knowing look and the same sly smile. Later, according to my senior, our professor exploded in rage when he heard the recording. That little bastard said. What? He let them win on purpose, the professor shouted. I'll flay him alive before I let him disgrace my name. A week later, on Wednesday, we finally got confirmation. Ethan had been kicked off the debate team. His own professor announced that he wanted nothing more to do with him. At that point, Ethan's academic career was officially finished. He disappeared for a long time after that, which suited me just fine. I had lab work, research, and barely enough energy for my own life. It wasn't until senior year that he showed up again. The boyish softness was gone, his features sharper now, more mature. He looked like he'd finally grown up, but all I could think was how nothing about him could ever make my heart move again. He might have grown older, but his brain clearly hadn't. If anything, it seemed like only his ego had expanded. Ethan looked at me with that same fake tenderness. Mia, he began. I lost my guaranteed graduate placement because I was helping you win first place. But I don't blame you. I actually started a gaming studio so you wouldn't have to fight for a job after graduation. When you're done with school, you can come work with me, be the boss's wife, and just collect the money. He reached out to grab my hand, but I sidestepped quickly. He didn't even seem embarrassed. Instead, he grinned like a fool and leaned forward, trying to hug me. I took several steps back to avoid him. I already have a graduate placement, I said curtly. You don't need to concern yourself with my life. The moment I said that, I saw a flicker of panic in his eyes, but he tried to recover quickly. Your major's super competitive, he said earnestly. And besides, you're a woman. Women shouldn't have to struggle out there. They should be enjoying life at home. Once you graduate, just join my studio. That way, we'll always be together. The words made my stomach turn. It felt like someone had slipped a block of ice down my shirt in the middle of winter. Before I could reply, a calm, amused voice came from behind me. No wonder I could hear a dog barking from so far away, my senior said. Turns out it was blocking my way. The early summer sunlight filtered through the trees, falling across his shoulders. He tilted his head slightly, giving me a lopsided smile. And for a second, my heart forgot how to beat before it began racing wildly again. My senior's expression cooled as he stepped forward, looking down at Ethan with quiet authority. She's one of the top 3 students in our department, he said sharply. And you? What are you? Who the hell do you think you are to tell her to give up her goals and her dreams? You're a parasite, not a partner. Then he added coldly, and for the record, I'll take care of her. You don't need to worry yourself about things that aren't your business. Ethan's face twisted, and he took a step closer as if to grab my wrist. But before he could, my senior smacked his arm away with a sharp slap. Try bothering her again, he warned in a low, dangerous voice. And I'll make sure your precious little studio shuts down before the end of the week. Ethan's face turned pale, then flushed red, his jaw trembling with anger. But when he looked up and took in my senior's confident stance and his sharp tailored suit, he froze. In the end, he didn't dare take another step. I couldn't help clapping softly. He's right, I said with a wry smile. Ethan's the kind of man who'd bleed someone dry, chew up their bones, drink the broth, and then complain the taste wasn't good enough. Unfortunately, they both completely misunderstood what I meant. Ethan looked at me with a wounded expression. Mia, I really do love you. Before he could finish, my senior punched him square in the face. Ethan dropped to the ground, clutching his mouth as one of his teeth rolled onto the pavement. After Ethan left, I turned to my senior, crossing my arms. Didn't take you for the childish type, I teased. Picking fights like that. He blinked, momentarily confused, then realized what I meant. His lips curved into a smile and his eyes softened into crescents. Mia, he said. I wasn't joking. It was the first time he'd called me by my first name instead of Lynn. Damn it. The way he said my name carried a kind of warmth that made my pulse skip. Not long after, our professor received an international research grant and brought both of us onto the project. Sometimes during breaks, I'd call my best friend and she'd update me on the gossip back home. Her face filled the screen, eyes wide with excitement. Mia, you won't believe this. Ethan's so-called gaming studio. It was funded with the compensation money from Lily's dad's death. I chuckled. Figures. With his skill level, there's no way he built anything from scratch. But that's not even the craziest part, she said, her voice dropping to a whisper. He actually bought life insurance policies for both his parents. Accidental death coverage. Can you imagine? What kind of monster does that? My jaw tightened slightly. What happened? When his parents found out, they completely disowned him, she said, her tone half gossipy, half gleeful. Now he and Lily are crammed into some tiny broken apartment together. I smiled faintly. Well, I guess that's what they call true love. She clapped her hands in agreement. Exactly. And get this, it gets worse. Ethan's deep in debt. He tried to negotiate a new business deal, but one of the investors apparently took an interest in Lily. That night, Lily went to meet the investor. When her mother found out, she was furious. She gathered a few men and had Ethan beaten within an inch of his life. If Lily hadn't begged them to stop, they probably would have killed him on the spot. And yet, Lily defended him. She said Ethan had only become the way he was because of her. Because she'd given up on taking the college entrance exam and failed to get into North University. She said that when his business collapsed and people mocked him, it was all her fault. She insisted she was willing to do anything for him, and that none of it had anything to do with Ethan. The scene was complete chaos. In the middle of the fight, Lily tried to shield Ethan, and someone shoved her off the 10th floor. She died instantly. I was so shocked I couldn't even speak. In that moment, I realized just how much Lily's fate mirrored my own from my previous life. Back then, Ethan's entire family had blamed me for her death, and I'd been consumed by guilt. So much that I sacrificed everything for them. Now her mother stood trembling with rage, her face pale as ash. She collapsed on the spot, and when she finally woke up, the first thing she did was press charges against Ethan. The case is still ongoing. I heard the university, on the other hand, expelled him almost immediately for serious moral misconduct and academic dishonesty. I couldn't calm down for a long time after hearing all this. It confirmed what I had always known. Everyone who got too close to Ethan ended up miserable. Later, while I was abroad working on a research project, Ethan came to see me once. A long scar now ran down the side of his face. When he saw me, he froze, his mouth opening slightly as his breath came out in faint white clouds. Mia, he said softly, you've become so beautiful. I turned to leave, but he rushed to speak. Mia, please. I came to apologize. I know now that it was you who saved me that day. You were the one who dragged me to shore, even when you could have died. Lily's dad only helped pull us up at the end. I was blind, selfish. I thought she was pitiful and I wanted to help her. But if I could do it all over again, I swear I'd stop. I interrupted. Ethan, there's nothing left between us. You always have a dozen excuses to justify what you did. But the truth is simple. Anyone who gets close to you ends up dead. Lily did. If it had been me again, I would have died too. I don't want to see you anymore. If there's even a shred of decency left in you, then stay out of my life forever. Ethan gave a hollow laugh. He stood there for a long moment, opening his mouth as if to speak, but no words came out. Then he lowered his head, dragging his heavy, battered suitcase behind him as he walked away. I never saw him again. 2 years later, my senior and I had made our relationship official, and we were back home to celebrate our engagement. On the way to the ceremony, a janitor took a wrong turn and was harshly scolded by the manager before being chased out. I overheard someone say he'd once worked as a waiter but had gotten into trouble. Something about people coming after him, demanding his life. In his panic, he fell from the second floor and broke his left leg instantly. If it weren't for the pity I felt watching him lying there, I wouldn't have even looked twice. My fiancé walked over and asked, "What are you looking at?" I blinked momentarily dazed, then replied without thinking, "A stray dog." He followed my gaze, looked for a moment and said nothing. But as we walked away, he added casually, almost as if it were an afterthought,